The following proposal is intended to address one of the current political situations that are active today: the international tensions between the United States and North Korea. The ongoing issue over the talk of nuclear weapons have been evident and active today, and it needs a proper approach and a solution to end this. If not, war is an outcome and can be a disaster. Why don't we continue and discuss exactly what the proposal entails, a solution, and all the necessary information, parties, ethical issues, and resolutions. Let's proceed. The parties involved in this are the United States of America and North Korea. If we're talking also into the leaders, Donald Trump leads the United States of America, and the North Korean leader is Kim Jong-un. Unfortunately, indirectly, it is also affecting other nations and allies of the United States and neighboring countries. Specifically, South Korea is one of them that are being targeted. South Korea and the United States of America are allies. They are also seen practicing on each other's nuclear weapons, drills, etc., and is seen as a threat to North Korea, so they are also at a threat. China was also asked by the United States to intervene. And Hawaii. Hawaii is set to be a target for North Korea's nuclear weapon. All of these are indirectly being affected, but as well as people, neighboring countries, all around us, our society, we're all being targeted because of this. And I think the biggest issue as to why we are the way that we are at the United States and North Korea is because of lack of communication. Unfortunately, both nations have relied solely on social media and media. They haven't properly confronted each other, and that is the issue. For instance, one of the biggest problems that North Korea has found with the United States is Donald Trump's aerial drill, specifically the largest aerial drill that he will be doing with South Korea. And they stated that his motive for that was that he was begging for war. The media is constantly mentioning World War III, nuclear war, and this is all causing, unfortunately, a disorder and a misinterpretation on both ends. Based on a study held by Kidder and William Lodges, certain participants were met in a study individually, specifically from other nations, and they all came to an agreement to ethical values, specifically truth, responsibility, compassion, freedom, fairness, and respect for life. All of these values are being violated during this. And this is not just that, but it's also affecting the communication, and it's affecting all of us. So that is why I came to agreement that there's a lack of communication between the countries. Specifically, UN leader, Ambassador Nikki Haley, stated specifically that that is not the outcome of the US. We never sought war with North Korea, and still today we do not seek it. But this is misinterpreted by North Korea and is being used, unfortunately, to their advantage, saying that we are begging for war. But as well as the United States are not helping, they keep also stating vicious comments to each other, misinterpreting it. Specifically, if war does not come, it will be because of continued aggressions like we witnessed yesterday. And if war comes, make no mistake, the North Korean regime will be utterly destroyed. That was said by the United Nations' Nikki Haley. This comments and all these problems does affect the misinterpretation of each other. And that is where the lack of communication starts. Social media, radio, television, instead of relying on a proper meeting, they're relying on that. So I do suggest that we come to the smartest way and the most peaceful way, and that is a peaceful treaty. And that is also the end to nuclear weapons. Let's proceed.
The conflict between the United States and North Korea can be dated all the way back to the early 1950s, during the Korean War. During the Korean War, North Korea invaded the South, and the United States led a coalition to support the South's fight against the Communist North. Since then, the tensions between both the United States and North Korea have remained, but recently they've reached an all-time high. North Korea has recently begun conducting nuclear tests and missile launches. Just in July 2017, it had its first successful test fire of an intercontinental ballistic missile. So in September, President Trump addressed the United Nations General Assembly and said that the United States was willing to defend itself and its allies against North Korea if need be. In response to President Trump, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un stated that the United States would pay deeply for its threats against North Korea. At first, the United States and its allies' main concern was preventing the development of nuclear missiles and weapons. But now that focus has shifted to preventing the use of these nuclear weapons. The main problem between the North Korea and the United States is the lack of ethical communication and the lack of ethical standard being kept by both parties. The media puts it best when they say that it has become the war of words. That's exactly what it is. Both leaders address the media and name call each other instead of focusing on what the actual issues are, which is nuclear war. Both parties have a right to protect their citizens and express their concerns, but it should be done in a way that's ethical and by a neutralized party assisting. And that's exactly what's lacked right now. Instead of addressing the media, addressing each other, and having it be a constant power struggle, the communication between both North Korea and the United States should be productive. It should be about helping the situation and neutralizing it instead of making it worse, which is what we continually see now.
Hi everyone, my name is Lydia Cordova, and today I would like to talk to you in regards to the recent tensions between the United States and North Korea. In most recent years, relations between North Korea and the United States of America have been defined largely by North Korea's 6 tests of weapons and its ongoing threats to strike the United States with nuclear weapons and conventional forces. Ethical responsibility is owed to the citizens of each country, in this case the United States of America and North Korea, as well as the countries that are in the middle of each nation as negotiators. The United States and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea have no formal diplomatic relations. Therefore, Sweden acts as the protecting power of the United States' interests in North Korea for consular matters. Oftentimes, individuals make the mistake of thinking that their actions do not require responsibility of testing one's ethically of communication, incorrectly assuming that the logical and ethical soundness of one's ideas need not to only be evaluated through the ability of survival in competition with one's viewpoints. However, such view can lead one to ignore the ethical responsibilities of communicators because the marketplace will ultimately render the necessary judgment. Responsibility includes the element of fulfilling duties and obligations, of being held accountable as evaluated by agreed upon standards, and of being accountable to our own conscience. Therefore, the essential element of responsible communication for both sender and receiver is the exercise of thoughtful and careful judgment. Trump threatening to totally destroy, waging war of fire and fury against North Korea, or stating the United States were forced to defend itself or its allies, does not consciously consider relevant information or values. On the other hand, Kim Jong-un's response to Trump's unprecedented rude nonsense, mentally deranged behavior, does not meet the sense of a responsible communicator. I would like to conclude by saying that leaders of our world, especially presidents and rulers, should be ethical when speaking to the public and speaking and defending each other's nations. Thank you.
In the midst of all this tension between the United States and North Korea, a face-to-face meeting will be sponsored by the United Nations. This will take place with the United States ambassador, the North Korean ambassador, foreign dignitaries, and other leaders, including leaders that we have in the United States Department of Defense. Through various ethical communication guidelines provided to us by the textbook of Ethical and Human Communications, authored by Johannesson, Valde, and Whitby. We will discuss how the North Koreans' pursuit of nuclear power is imminent, how continued nuclear and ballistic testing of North Korea is being conducted while ignoring the sanctions currently in place, desire of North Korea to be treated equally in nuclear arena, the strict sanctions by the United States in hopes of a resolution of disarmament. All of these points will be discussed with care and attention to ethics, intercultural communication, and values placed on each country. Ethics is the foundation to all intercultural relations between countries like the United States and North Korea. Regardless of this countries of origin, universal principles of intercultural relations can be promoted. At this proposal that we've discussed, the role of ethics plays in the collaboration a vital role and in understanding, acceptance, and respect that is essential in finding solutions to world problems between leaders of countries. A final recommendation will be made to diminish the tension that may bring World War III to our soil.